guys, and welcome to another discussion video. And recently, it seems like Nintendo has been doing a lot with the Donkey Kong franchise, except a new game. We haven't gotten a new game yet, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But recently, they revealed more information about the upcoming Donkey Kong LEGO sets. So they're a part of the LEGO Super Mario line that has been going on since 2020. I did a few videos about them, including like unboxing and like building videos and different things, and kind of did little mini reviews of them. So they've been kind of continuing that over the past couple of years. Like they added Luigi's Mansion theme sets, a Lego Luigi, like an actual Lego Luigi figure and everything, that is functionally similar to Mario, and also Peach as well, I believe. And now they're doing Donkey Kong themed sets. They aren't doing like a Donkey Kong figure that controls like Mario, but rather they're gonna have a way where Mario kind of rides on Donkey Kong, which is kind of interesting. So these sets will include DK's house, along with a minecart area with Diddy Kong and Funky Kong, and then a Dixie Kong set as well. And then I forgot to mention Cranky Kong will be in one of the sets, like the DK Treehouse one. Then they're also doing an expansion set with Rambi, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I really like what they are doing for this LEGO set, and it definitely goes to show that they're kind of pushing the DK franchise a lot, and this is just one example of it. Another example is the expansion to Super Nintendo World that will be coming to Universal Studios Japan in 2024. It's like a Donkey Kong themed area with many of the locations from the Donkey Kong Country series, notably Returns, which is kind of like most of what the theming is for most Donkey Kong Country related things, which it kind of is a solid base, so it makes sense. And they're doing like a minecart ride, which looks really cool. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I hope it comes to the US as well, to the Universal Studios locations here. So yeah, I think it looks pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to it. And then finally, there's the Mario movie with the very important representation of Donkey Kong and the Donkey Kong characters there, because the Kongs definitely played a substantial role. I mean, like, Donkey Kong was definitely a major character. Like, he kind of had a dynamic with Mario in the movie. And they also showed like the Jungle Kingdom area, which is based on DK Island. And they also brought back a lot of other Kong characters like Swanky Kong and Chunky Kong, which haven't appeared in games in quite a long time. So I thought that was pretty cool to see. There was also like the speculation that Funky Kong and Kiddy Kong were in the movie, but that's not really confirmed. They might just be random Kongs. But Chunky Kong is definitely confirmed. And then Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong also made cameos. And then of course, Cranky Kong appeared as one of the as a fairly major character. So yeah, they definitely had a lot of presence in the Mario movie. I've also heard some like rumors. I'm not sure if these are actually like concrete rumors or any official announcements or anything, but there has been some like speculation about a Donkey Kong movie happening, which I could definitely see as something being very possible, since the Mario movie is currently approaching $1 billion in the box office. So I feel like a Donkey Kong movie would definitely make a lot of sense. So yeah, it definitely seems like Nintendo is kind of cooking something up for the Donkey Kong franchise and kind of promoting it in a certain way to where it could be kind of advertised alongside Mario, or advertised to a similar scale as Mario. So I feel like there's a couple things they are currently doing, and I feel like the main thing is kind of setting up for new games. And I say that plurally because I feel like they're definitely planning on kind of releasing like a couple Donkey Kong games in the next few years. I mean, like, I know there's probably going to be like one fairly soon. I'm thinking it will probably be next year. 'Cause I think it could even like coincide with the launch of the next Nintendo console. But yeah, I think they're definitely gonna do like a big new game, and I feel like it's kind of gonna be a slightly different story than something like Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, or Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Because it's actually, I feel like they're probably gonna somewhat reboot the franchise in a way, like almost like Donkey Kong Country Returns did. I mean, obviously they're gonna keep a lot of the elements that they kind of brought into the Donkey Kong franchise with Tropical Freeze and Returns, but I feel like they could definitely be doing something bigger here, like a 3D game. And I feel like a 3D game definitely makes a lot of sense because like the 2D games, they're excellent in my opinion, but I feel like they don't really live up to the full scale of a lot of 3D platformers, obviously, because it's like a 2D platformer and everything. And I do think both 2D platformers and 3D platformers can coexist, but I feel like the next Donkey Kong game will probably be a 3D game, especially because they're like pushing out the franchise so much lately. And I do feel like they might do another 2D game at some point. They might kind of do a thing where they release the 2D games as kind of a separate sub-series as the 3D games, kind of like how the Mario franchise has the New Super Mario Bros. Series and Mario Maker, though I don't really think the New Super Mario Bros. Series is really going on anymore, because that's another story for what they could do with 2D Mario, because that's kind of up in the air with what they could do with that currently. But I feel like it would kind of be comparable to what they did in the late 2000s and early 2010s with 3D Mario and 2D Mario. They could be doing something similar with DK, but I feel like the main thing that they're probably going to focus on first is a 3D game, and I think that would be pretty interesting. I mean, it could take some elements from Donkey Kong 64, but I feel like it would, like, I feel like they should really kind of make it more refined, I guess, and not really follow that exact structure that Donkey Kong 64 did. I mean, I feel like they could definitely make it kind of connected to that game in some capacity and take some inspiration from that game, but I feel like they should take like some elements from the modern 2D games as well and kind of incorporate that into this. And yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of potential with what they could do with a new 2D or a new 3D Donkey Kong game. And I feel like it could either be like a linear 3D platformer or like an actual open sandbox 3D platformer. Though I feel like that really isn't necessarily relevant to this conversation, but that could be like an idea for another video. But I just think in general that we could be getting a 3D Donkey Kong game in the next couple of years, like due to the fact that they've been pushing out the franchise quite a lot, and also the fact that there hasn't been a new Donkey Kong game in nearly 10 years. It's been over 9 years since Tropical Freeze released, and over 5 years, or about 5 years, since the port released on the Switch. So it's been quite a while since we've gotten any, like, standalone Donkey Kong releases. So it's kind of weird that they haven't done anything for quite a while, so they're probably cooking up something pretty big here. And I feel like the intention of this next game will probably be to elevate the series up to the level of like Mario and Zelda. I mean, it can't exactly be on the level of Mario. I mean, like, Mario's like kind of way above the other Nintendo series in terms of like popularity and everything. But I feel like the Donkey Kong franchise, with whatever they're doing currently, definitely has the potential to go back to how it was previously, being like one of the largest and one of the most popular Nintendo franchises. And I really hope it does, because I feel like there's definitely, like I said, there's a lot of potential, and they've definitely kind of been pushing the DK brand out a lot. So yeah, I'm interested in seeing what they'll be doing with this. And another thing that I think they are kind of doing with the Donkey Kong franchise is kind of letting it mix in with the Mario franchise a little more, kind of like how it used to. Like in the 2000s, I feel like the Donkey Kong franchise definitely had a lot of characters kind of crossover into the Mario franchise. I mean, I guess it's technically not a crossover because they technically exist within the same universe. Like, I mean, when you think about it, Mario is technically like a spin-off of Donkey Kong. It's like, I mean, the games really all spawned from the original Donkey Kong. So, like, they're kind of connected. Like they're technically not the same franchise, but they're still kind of linked together in the same universe and everything. So I feel like recently they've kind of been incorporating Donkey Kong into a lot of Mario related things recently. Like the Mario movie, that's one major example of this. Like, yeah, I feel like that was pretty interesting how they handled that. And another example is like Mario Kart Tour and potentially Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as well has been adding in some characters like Funky Kong and Dixie Kong. I know Funky Kong was in Mario Kart Wii, but that's back when, like, my example, like how they were kind of incorporating the Donkey Kong franchise in with the Mario franchise more. So yeah, with Mario Kart Tour, they've been kind of incorporating some characters there. And I have a feeling they will probably be carried over to 8 Deluxe, at least Funky Kong, and also Diddy Kong as well, since Diddy Kong surprisingly didn't appear in either 8 or 8 Deluxe. So that would be nice to see them there. And I think there's definitely a good chance of that. And then there's also the fact that the Lego Donkey Kong sets are kind of incorporated with the Lego Mario sets. And then also the fact that the Donkey Kong Super Nintendo World expansion is kind of partially connected to how the Mario World is, even though they're separate areas. The fact that they kind of chose to have a Donkey Kong world alongside the Mario world kind of shows that they are kind of incorporating more elements from the Donkey Kong franchise into the Mario franchise. So I think that's pretty interesting overall. Like even though I feel like they'll still keep like Donkey Kong separate to some degree. I mean, obviously with the games, like I want them to still be their own thing, and they probably will. But it is nice to see some incorporation with the Mario franchise, because the Mario franchise definitely needs more in terms of like characters for rosters and more like connections to the different worlds that are a part of its universe. I mean, another example of how it was doing that was kind of with Yoshi's Island, with how they've been kind of connecting that as well. But I'm really hopeful about the future of Donkey Kong, and what Nintendo has been doing recently is definitely pretty promising, even though we don't really have much concrete evidence of Nintendo doing anything. It really seems like they could be cooking up something. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server if you want to. Goodbye.